devotion. In there, Rupa Goswami is mentioning, in this connection, Srila Rupa Goswami suggests that the person eligible for Krishna consciousness or devotion service can be classified by his particular taste. He says that devotional service is the continual process from one's previous life. No one can take to devotional service unless he has had some previous connection with it. For example, suppose in this life, I practice devotional service to some extent. Even though it is not 100% perfectly performed, whatever I have done will not be lost. So here, Prabhupada is citing Rupa Goswami's teachings and emphasizing that nobody comes to devotional service by chance, but we have collected some sukriti, some pious deeds, some mercy from our previous lives, and we have begun our journey. Unfortunately, we did not complete the journey, and therefore Rupa Goswami says that you will continue from where you left off. There is no loss in this. So in my next life, from the very point where I stop in this life, I shall begin again. In this way, there is always a continuity. But even if there is no continuity, if only by chance a person takes interest in a pure devotee's instructions, this is a very important point. If only by chance a person takes interest in a pure devotee's instruction, he can be accepted and can advance in devotional service. Anyway, for a person who has natural taste for understanding books like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, devotional service is easier for those who are simply accustomed to mental speculation and argumentative process. So again, if you have a natural taste to study books like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, then devotional service is very easy for you. Otherwise, it will just remain mental speculation and argumentative, and you will never go past the actual essence of the scripture, which is to come on the platform of transcendental bhakti devotional service. So in this slide, a very nice quotation from Srila Prabhupada in Los Angeles in 16th of June, 1972. He says, I am very much stressing at this point that all my students shall be very much conversant with the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, and that they should read our books very diligently. This is the underlying point. They should read our books very diligently, at least 1 or 2 hours daily, and try to understand the subject matter from varieties of angles. So Prabhupada is saying that he is stressing a very important point here. Beyond everything else which is connected with Krishna consciousness, one must very diligently read at least 1 or 2 hours daily, either Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita or Chaitanya Charitamrita or many other books which Srila Prabhupada has very kindly given to us. And if you simply follow these instructions very diligently, then all success will automatically come by the mercy of Sri Guru and Gauranga. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam it says, unless they smear, this is Prahlad Maharaj, unless they smear upon their bodies the dust of the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, completely free from material contamination, persons are very much inclined towards materialistic life cannot be, persons very much inclined towards materialistic life cannot be attached to the lotus feet of the Lord, who is glorified by uncommon activities. Only by becoming Krishna conscious, taking shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord, in this way, one can be free from all material contamination. Now, here is a young boy, 5-year-old boy, Prahlad Maharaj, and he's speaking this statement to his father. So young Prahlad is speaking to his father and telling him that unless you take to the shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna in a pure devotee, you will never make any advancement. Of course, we all know from the story from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Hiranyakashipu was a bit of a notorious person. He was claiming to become God himself. In this slide, I have depicted Prahlad Maharaj very humbly bowing down to his father and saying that unless you smear your body with the dust of a lotus feet of a pure Vaishnava devotee, then you will never make success in your life. And I've added a little picture of Krishna very nicely playing his flute. And this is the meditation of Prahlad Maharaj. So Prahlad Maharaj is a 5-year-old boy. It's not just instructing his father, but through the medium of Srimad Bhagavatam, he is also instructing us how we can become successful in our lives by simply taking the dust from the lotus feet of a pure devotee. In the purport, Prabhupada says, becoming Krishna conscious brings about anartha apagama, the disappearance of all anarthas, the miserable conditions we have unnecessarily accepted. Material body is a basic principle of this unwanted miserable condition. The entire Vedic civilization is meant to relieve one from these unwanted miseries. This is a very important statement Prabhupada is making. The entire Vedic civilization is meant to relieve one from these unwanted miseries. But persons bound by the laws of nature do not know the destination of life. So this Vedic civilization, Vedic culture, Vedic literature, they are all meant to relieve us from these unwanted miseries which we have fallen into. As described in the previous verse, Isha Tantrayam Urudhamani Bodhaha, they are conditioned by the three strong modes of material nature. The education that keeps the conditioned soul bound life after life is called materialistic education. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has explained that materialistic education expands the influence of Maya. Again, this is a very important statement by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. It explains materialistic education expands the influence of Maya. So more and more you pay attention to the so-called materialistic advancement or modern science, it will be more and more you'll be influenced by the influence of Maya, and therefore you'll be distancing yourself away from the Supreme Lord and more engage in this so-called materialistic education and so-called offerings of material education, which the scientists are proclaiming that it will free us from our miserable condition. But we have seen in our own lifetime that the science has made such an advancement in the field of science, but the suffering of the materialist people in the world is still there. It is not decreased. On the contrary, it is increasing. One may ask why highly educated persons do not take to Krishna consciousness. The reason is explained in this verse. Unless one takes shelter of a bona fide, fully Krishna conscious spiritual master, there is no chance of understanding Krishna. The educators, scholars, and big political leaders worshipped by millions of people cannot understand the goal of life and take to Krishna consciousness. So again, we can understand that if you are more and more educated in materialistic science, then you will be that much distant from the actual science, the science of self-realization. Therefore, it will be difficult for you to understand your real goal and then take to the path of Krishna consciousness.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.